Okay, now I'd just like to take a little bit of time to talk about your final exam, let you know what you can expect from that. So your final exam is 25% of your mark for the course, and it's cumulative. So all material from lecture and lab is fair game. Um, regarding the details of the lab, again, it's going to be asynchronous. You're going to have a 2-day window to complete it. So it's going to be posted first thing in the morning, Tuesday, on the 22nd, Pacific Standard Time, and you will have until midnight, Wednesday, the 23rd, to complete it. I decided to extend it a little bit, give you a little bit of extra time. You're going to have 6 hours to do the exam attempt. Again, this exam should not take you 6 hours. I'm not giving you 6 hours under the assumption that you dedicate all 6 hours to working on it. I just don't want people to feel rushed or pressured. So I'm giving you 6 hours to work through it. It should be more than sufficient time in order to finish it. You only have one attempt. So once you start it, you can't restart it. You can't do another one. So be prepared. Start it when you're ready to take it. If you have an approved accommodation for extra time, please send me an email before the final exam date so that I know that, just to remind me so I can set your time differently. And so regarding the questions that are going to be on the exam. So the exam questions are going to be drawn randomly from a bank of questions. So this is obviously meant to discourage cheating. Don't take the exam with someone else. Chances are you're going to get different questions anyway. All the work in the exam has to be your own. So the exam is open book. You can use any resources at your disposal regarding the internet or course notes or anything like that, but you can't consult anyone else. So on the question, you're going to have a mix of matching, fill in the blank, multiple choice questions. It's going to be about 10% of the final mark on the exam. It's going to be 2 GIS task questions where you're going to be asked to perform simple geospatial analysis on a layer in ArcGIS Pro. So you will have to fire up Arc during the exam and answer 2 questions. It'll be fairly straightforward. If anyone's concerned about access to Arc during the exam, please contact me and we can work on a strategy for it. But there'll be simple tasks. It should be fairly straightforward and easy to do. You have a 6-hour window to do it, so I think it should be pretty reasonable. There's going to be short answer questions. That'll be about 15% of the mark. A flowchart question, again, 15%. This is going to be creating a flowchart and outlining a GIS analysis. And then there will be 2 essays, which are going to be 50% of your mark. So I think I'll post a bank of 4 essay questions and allow you to pick 2. So regarding the flowcharts, flowcharts are a great way to symbolize and represent the flow of information through a project, right? You've gotten a bit of an intro into Model Builder, seeing how that can be a nice, concise way to represent the flow of information. So in the flowchart question, this is just an example. This isn't actually what I'm going to assign you, but it's going to look something like this. You're going to be given a question. So you're looking for a new site of a campground. You've got to meet certain criteria. You'll be given a set of criteria. So it has to be in a park on a slope that's less than 5% within a kilometer of a road. Then you'll be given data set layers, data type, attributes, the projection that they're in, various pieces of information. And your goal is to create an analysis, generate maps of suitable areas for new campground. And so basically, you just need to create a flowchart to symbolize how you would answer that question. And so for the flowchart, basically, you should use arrows to denote the flow, and then different symbols to represent inputs, outputs, and processes. Now you can draw this by hand if you want. You can create it in, say, PowerPoint or any other software package you want to use. I will also provide you with this resource. This is a diagram creating website. So for instance, I'll just create a new one. You can use this to pretty easily and quickly create diagrams. So say you want to set circles as your inputs. You can add a circle, call it input 1, add another circle, input 2, add a process, can add an output. Let's make it a diamond. These specific choices of shapes and colors and things like that don't matter as long as you are consistent. And then you can add arrows, should automatically link to things, so you can quickly and easily create a flowchart for an exam question using this website if you want. And so I'll link to this resource in the actual exam question. Don't feel obligated to use this specific resource. It's just an option for you. But then you can save it, you can export it as a PNG, and you can submit that. So again, if you want to draw it out by hand, that's perfectly fine as long as your writing is legible. If you want to create it in PowerPoint, that's totally fine, but this is another resource. If you're going to use this, I suggest you take a moment to just familiarize yourself with how to export before the final exam comes along. So again, the exam is open book. You can use any resources online or the course webpage that you want. That said, plagiarism is going to be taken very seriously. So do not copy and paste anything from Wikipedia or the lecture slides or etc. Especially with Wikipedia or the lecture slides, it's really easy to tell if you copy and paste things. Generally speaking, the writing flow just doesn't match up. If it's the lecture slides, it's my own material, so I'm going to know. And so just don't do it. Best case scenario, if you do it, you'll get a 0 for that question. Worst case, you might fail the final. Just avoid making that mistake. Don't copy and paste anything. If you put stuff in your own words, it's the safest way to go about it. And do not copy from your classmates. Questions are going to be randomly assigned anyway, so you won't have the same questions. So there's not really any point to taking it together anyway. So in terms of how to study for the final exam, just review the lecture slides, notes, watch the lecture videos, watch them on double speed if you want to get through them faster. All the content's out there already, so I'm not going to offer a full formal final exam review. Just anything that's come up in lecture can end up on the final. 2 things that I will say you really want to focus on to make sure, or 3 things you really want to focus on to make sure you know pretty well. Actually, I'll say 4. Projections and data types. So what kind of map projections do you use? What's the difference between a projection and a geographic coordinate system? Make sure you understand that. Spatial data models, raster versus vector, and how does tabular data relate to vector data? You want to understand the difference between the raster data model and the vector data model. So you really need to make sure you rewatch or review that information. You also want to make sure that you have a pretty good idea of data symbolization and ethics. So just a hint, these are some things that might come up in the essays. And lastly, I'll just say, I would really appreciate it if everyone fills out the course evaluations. So I take these seriously, and so does UBC. Your feedback is going to help me improve my teaching, especially important because this online instruction format is still fairly new to everyone. So I really enjoyed teaching all this semester. It's been a fairly condensed and busy one, a bit tough, especially teaching in summer term. It's a little bit difficult. This is only my 3rd time running this course. So I apologize if things have been a little bit disorganized at times, but any feedback you can give will be really helpful, helping me navigate how to pursue this course in the future. So I'm going to be teaching it again in the fall, and things are going to be in a hybrid format where I'm going to have some videos online and some stuff in person. So any thoughts or feedback you have regarding to say how you felt about some of the lecture content might be helpful. Any thoughts or feedback about what you thought about the labs, the format of the lab system could be helpful as well. So in previous years with this course, because I used to be a TAFE for it before I was an instructor, all the labs were in just PDF documents, and this term I decided to post everything on GitHub instead. So I am curious to know how you all felt about the lab assignments, both content-wise and sort of format layout-wise, how the format worked for you, whether it was beneficial to have the videos linked into the labs and things like that. So yeah, any feedback you have would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, good luck on the final exam. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Oh, one other point to mention, I will be away Saturday through Monday. So Monday is my birthday. I'm taking a couple days off to go camping. So if you have any questions about the final exam or the final projects, which are due on Monday, please reach out by Friday evening. I'll get back to you by then. If you send me an email over the weekend, I'm not going to get back to it until Monday night, and chances are that'll be perhaps too late to get the answer. So please reach out by Friday if you need help.